Do you have certain days that are etched in your mind? Maybe they're etched in your mind because it was the bliss of a positive experience or episode in your life. Maybe it's etched in your mind because it's the pain of a tragic moment in your life. Today, January the 19th, is one of those days etched in my mind and will be for the rest of my life. On January the 19th, 2010, I was the senior pastor at the First Baptist Church of Temple, Texas. And that day, our church building was destroyed by an arsonist fire. Of course, we didn't know that day it was arson. That news came a week later. So on this day, nearly every year, I think about this day, and there are certain people I think about. There are events around that. Today, though, I've chosen this day throughout the day to be thinking about some blessings that came from that time. Some of those blessings were pastor friends. And interestingly, I'm going to name to you, mention the pastor who was my friend that pastored the Episcopal Church across the street, the pastor of the First Methodist Church a block and a half away. Both of those guys, we were near one another physically, so certainly after that time I saw both of those men frequently. Both of those men were on our church parking lot that day to see me and see about me and to minister and care for us. Another pastor in town in his church, under his leadership of that church, paid for us to meet at the convention center the following Sunday and covered all of the sound equipment and sound rental and operation of that. Just blessed us in that way. Just some blessings that I look back upon and remember. Those were some pretty significant blessings. And even though I don't get to see or talk to those men very regularly anymore, I keep up. I pay attention to them because of their impact on my life. I often think about another blessing. It was small and it was just in a moment, but boy, it has left an impression on my mind. I had a day in somewhere in the weeks that were following, and I don't remember exactly how far along it was. I went to the Dairy Queen near the church property for lunch. That was a little late, later than lunchtime. And there was a corner in that Dairy Queen where you could kind of sit, and maybe many people wouldn't even know you were sitting there. And it was vacant, and that's what I was hoping. I was tired. I was physically tired, emotionally tired. And I sat at that table. And in a little bit, there was a man that started approaching me from a group that was sitting across the dining area. And he said, "You're the pastor at the Baptist church that burned, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And I stood up to greet him. And he told me his name, which I don't remember. I wish I did, but I don't. But he reached in his back pocket and pulled out his billfold and pulled out a bill from his billfold and handed it to me. And he said, "I just want you to know there's a Catholic that cares. Would you put this in your fund for your building?" What he did for me, was far more than that bill did in the building fund. It was helpful. We were thankful for every dollar that came to that building fund. Boy, there were so many blessings out of a tragic moment in my history and the history of that church. Get my words out here. But there were so many blessings that continue to bless me to this day. For David and Tom and Elwyn three men of God who love the Lord and preach the good news and care for people, and cared for this pastor in our church. Boy, I could make a long list, but you wouldn't listen that long. But on those days that are etched in your mind, let me encourage you to give thanks to God for the blessings that came from those days, whether they were really good days, and that's easy to do, or whether they were tragic days, but blessings came. Would you give thanks to God for those? God bless you. Have a great day.